Hello, hello. Welcome. Come on in, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
We'll get started in just a couple minutes here after everybody gets in. Welcome. Good to see y'all. As has been in the past, we're not inviting people to talk on the stage, and all of your questions will be in the text chat of this channel. Feel free to say hello and all that while we wait for people to come in. Notice that there is a slow mode because there are a lot of you here. And if I didn't put on slow mode, it would be kind of hard to go through hundreds of messages. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a couple minutes here. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. All right, we'll get started in like one more minute. Hello,
I see there's
everyone.
a lot of conversation about subelements in the chat already, and I've got a showcase for everyone about that. Just need to wait for a few more people to join.
Yep, we will be showing off the elusive subelements. All right, we'll get started in like 30 seconds or so. Hello, John. Haven't seen you in a while. All right. Rory, I guess anytime. Why don't we start off with the sub-elements showcase, since clearly that's what everyone's here for.
All right, thought that might be the case. Give me 30 seconds to make sure that my VR headset is still connected and hasn't forgotten that my computer exists.
Cool. I'll have the stream going in a minute here.
Also, I've got a cat who might be joining in from the background. She's standing a couple feet from my microphone, so let's see if she joins the Q&A as well. Of course, and despite me testing that this worked 2 minutes ago, my headset has decided to fully crash.
Yeah, isn't that how MetaQuest always goes?
The joys of VR development.
All right, well, I
I'm
can
going to
answer
need a minute to
couple.
reboot my headset. So yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right, well, while he's rebooting his headset because meta bad. I mean, we love meta. Yeah, let me see. There's a couple questions that came in while we were waiting. Lots about sub elements. Let's kind of hold those off until after the showcase. The only one I'm going to answer up front now, the timeline for sub elements has not changed. It is still fall winter. I can say we're fairly certain at this point it will be this year, fall winter. It shouldn't go into January or whatever. But that's all I can say. Fall winter this year. Yeah, and then otherwise, are you done with Superfly? I was actually kind of surprised that anyone was asking about this. We've been done with Superfly for well over a year at this point. Dude, we're a small team, can only kind of do one thing at a time for the most part. There was a little bit of cross development overlap time when we weren't public yet, but Yeah, no, Superfly is done. Let's see here. Will you eventually add your own elements? You're gonna have to clarify what that means. Let's see. Balancing question mark, crying face from Dr. Turtle. It, you keep complaining about it, but I haven't seen an actual post anywhere unless I missed it. Make a post, please. Looks like Rory's got it going.
All right, I think so. Is my stream working? Everything smooth?
I can see it, yeah.
All right. Let me make sure I have a good character to show off. This is a cool character. I'll get. Sure, we'll stay this guy.
All right. Now for the sub element showcase, I'll let you take it away, Rory.
All right. So, I have some works in progress to show off today. I want to make one thing clear. The sub elements are not done yet. If they were totally done, they would be released. They're not released, they're not done. So everything that you see today, please take it with a grain of salt. There are going to be future changes and improvements made. And part of the reason why I'm showing these off today is to get feedback and perspectives on what you'd like to see changed. So if there's anything about the sub-elements that's disappointing to you or areas of improvement, please let us know. We're always happy to hear feedback. So what I do have to show off today is the versions of 4 of the 8 sub-elements. So that's going to be lava, blood, lightning, and spirit. Eventually, by the time we hit full release and release of sub-elements, there should be 8 sub-elements total. But right now I only have 4 to show off. The other 8 have not been developed yet. But I have design documents that we can get to later if people are interested. To start off with, let's go through the 4 sub-elements that we currently have. So, a sub-element is not a new element. It's instead a variation of the existing element. That means that when you're lava, you don't lose all of your earth moves. You still have most of your earth moves, but you replace a few of your earth moves with lava moves instead. For example, I can reach into the ground and pick up a boulder, and that works exactly the same as earth, and throw the boulder all back. But if I reach into the ground and charge, then you can see there's now a lava effect coming out. If I lift this up, I get a lava stream, and I get this instead of the large boulder. I can throw that in targets and so on. So some moves the same, some moves replaced. So let's go over the new moves. So you saw the lava stream, reach into the ground, charge up, get a stream of lava, hit things with it. But you can also see that this leaves behind a floor of lava on the ground. If enemies walk over this floor, they'll take some pretty heavy damage. And a lot of your moves, I think all of your moves right now with the lava sub-element will create those floors. So you can build up a pretty big kind of zone of control. And then when you do hit things with these moves, they deal a lot of damage. It's 4 bars per hit. You can just keep hitting people with this, for example. If I reach into the ground, charge, and pull up with 2 hands, got a lava wave. A lot like the water wave, can hit things, does a lot more damage. Now, I should mention, some of the VFX are currently broken for these. There are fixes for some of these VFX bits in another branch that I unfortunately wasn't quite able to get merged in here before the showcase. But yeah, if you see minor graphics issues like a lava wave exploding into a blue water splash, rest assured that is fixed on a different version. So yeah, you can raise the lava wave, throw it at things, and if the lava wave eventually collapses and hits the ground, it also leaves behind a floor. Fast move. Instead of the earth trap, if you reach into the ground, charge up, and throw forward, does a move that I call Lava Rush that leaves behind a whole trail of lava on the ground. It will do decent initial damage, but the main advantage of this move is the fact that it can just blanket the map in floors. So do this enough and, well, your enemies aren't going to be able to stand much of it anymore. Let's see. And yeah. That's lava as it stands right now. So, as you can see, several new moves, but also most of the Earth moves are still the same. So, for example, you've still got small walls, you've still got the Earth hammer, and that kind of familiar stuff. It's just the charged moves are replaced with lava. Yeah, Mac, are there initial questions about lava or anything else I should go over about the sub-element before I move on?
Not much. There was one comment on wanting to see the damage of lava if you had damage techniques equipped, because I want to know how cooked they are.
So the damage techniques will affect lava the same as other moves. If, like, right now, and these numbers are of course subject to change, but the lava stream should do 4 bars of damage per hit. The lava wave should do 6 bars of damage per hit, and the lava rush should do 4 bars of damage on a hit. And then if you're standing on this lava over time, you'll take about 4 bars per second while you're standing on it. So yeah, you can compute the effects of the techniques from there. Plus 25% damage affects those numbers as you would expect, for example.
What else is planned for lava, if anything?
So there's some possibilities. For example, maybe the Earth Hammer would be replaced by a lava shuriken type move that you could throw forward, and that would leave a lava floor on the ground where it hits things. Yeah. So lava is one of the sub-elements that has fewer new moves, but that's because it's all about this lava floor mechanics and really the different ways that you can create the floors and use them for zone control. This thing's pretty powerful once you have enough of it, because you can just kind of take over large areas of the map and say, oh, you're not allowed to stand anywhere here.
Alright. Will lava set people on fire?
No, it will not. That's currently limited to the fire abilities only. I could imagine that as something that we could add in the future, but I feel like setting people on fire and the fire elements, it's kind of the fire elements unique thing right now. Don't want to take that away.
Will lava melt normal Earth? Like if someone makes if an enemy makes an Earth wall and it gets hit by lava, by your lava or something.
So it will interact with it in kind of the normal way for different elemental abilities, which is based on the kind of might system. So whenever 2 abilities hit each other, the stronger ability will destroy the weaker ability. And sometimes the stronger ability will get destroyed, but if it's enough stronger, then it won't get destroyed. So an earth wall, like a small earth wall here, has 3 durability. And this lava rush would hit it with 4 might. So this earth wall would be destroyed. But if you instead have a large earth wall, oops, I can't make large earth walls, that's right, because I have a lava wave. I have to first make a lava wave and freeze it into an earth wall. And I have a large earth wall. If I were to hit this with a lava rush, it would not be destroyed, because the large earth wall would have 5 durability compared to the 4 might of the lava rush. There aren't special mechanics between the interactions there, because I want every matchup to be fair. And if the lava had a big advantage against normal Earth, then that wouldn't be a fair matchup if you were on the normal Earth's end of things. I want lava and normal Earth to be balanced against each other.
And I assume along the same vein as that, lava and water aren't going to have any special interactions like steam or hardening.
Correct. Because any special interaction is going to be something that makes the matchup unfair for one side or the other. So I want to be very careful before adding any of those.
And how long does the floor of lava last for?
A good while. I think it's 10 to 20 seconds. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but you can just stand here and count.
Riveting stream. Are there plans for sub-element ultimates, which I think we answered in a previous one, and it was generally yes, probably?
Yeah, it's if we have time, then we'll do it. But right now, sub-elements and normal elements share the same set of ultimates. So if we were to add a lava ultimate, the lava ultimate wouldn't be restricted to the lava sub-element only. It's instead any Earth user could equip that lava ultimate. I think the greater variety of mixing and matching would kind of make for some interesting combos there. I can't promise that these will exist. It's if we have time, once we come up with sub-elements, then we'll add the ultimates.
Will the lava floor be affected by stamina?
Technically it is, in that if you spam moves too quickly and then you run out of stamina, the lava floors you create will deal less damage. So yeah, it's kind of an anti-spamming incentive there.
Can opponents charge their ult by standing on the lava?
So you shouldn't be able to. I think the current version you can, but also in the current version, if you just block and stand on lava, I think it'll damage you pretty heavily through that. It's not a mechanic that I really want to have available in the future. You shouldn't just be able to walk into lava to get your ultimate charge. This doesn't make a lot of sense.
If you use water tentacles and you grab the ground where lava is on the floor, do your tentacles break?
I don't think they will. Need to double check that interaction, but I think they won't.
Okay. I guess let's move on to the next sub-element.
All right. So this will be one that's probably exciting for a lot of people. Blood. So now there's been a lot of talk that I've seen in the Discord about, does blood even make sense as a sub-element? Is it even going to be remotely balanced or fair? Because if you can just grab your enemies and paralyze them, that is not exactly a fair interaction. So the version of blood that I want to show you does have a kind of move that will grab your enemies, but it doesn't fully paralyze your enemies. So the basic blood move, blood control, just hold your hand out, press trigger, and it summons this orb that represents something that can grab a target. If you then grab a target, it latches onto it, and you'd be able to move your target around like the air vacuum. You're currently grabbing a target that can't move, so it's not moving, but imagine that it was following my cursor. Then you can also tap grip to end the ability with a burst of damage. When you do that, it creates a debuff on your target for a few seconds, slowing them and lowering their damage. One way to think of this is it's kind of like a control that will end in a less severe version of paralysis. I can grab this drone, move it around, and control it. And once I end the ability with the siphon, it gets slowed and does lower damage, as if it was like half paralyzed for a little bit. But its abilities and movement aren't super affected. So if you're ever grabbed by the blood control, you're able to still act and fight for yourself. And if you dash, you'll escape immediately. And one more note before I move on. This ability could change in the future. I'm not totally sure about the ball of blood that grabs things. There might be another mechanic to grab things in the future. I would very much appreciate your feedback on this. But that's not all of Blood's abilities, not by far. The water bubble is replaced by the blood orb. Hold your hands together, press both triggers, summon an orb of blood. You can throw that, and it acts kind of like the water bubble, or the fire orb. It keeps going until it hits something, then explodes in a burst. Oh, it's a different move. So yeah, you can throw these orbs around, kind of like at the train, and have these dangerous little orbs about to pop if anything hits them. Another move, instead of the water daggers, you have the blood claws. You see these things, they're fun. So yeah, they can grapple onto things like the water daggers, and they're just great at slashing. I missed. Got it. They mechanically function pretty much the same as the water daggers, they just look cool. I'm a fan of these guys. Yeah, after that, there's a couple more things you can do with the blood orb. Namely, if you pull it back like this, you turn it into a blood bow and arrow, which shoots arrows at your targets. pretty much like the fire arrow, but it's going to be a little bit faster, but also can't charge. So pros and cons there. It's meant to be a precise long-range attack for blood. And then, if you have an orb and you push the other direction, it makes a blood laser. Similar to the fire laser or the air laser, it's a long-distance precise attack. Pretty short, doesn't do a ton of damage, but good for sniping and getting long-range hits off the enemies. And it takes a second to charge. And I think that's all the moves for blood. Here's the blood control, which can grab things. The blood siphon, which damages and slows them. There's the blood claws, which are similar to the water daggers. And there's the blood orb, which goes out and pops and damages things. The blood arrow, which, well, it's a bow and arrow. And then the blood laser. Yeah. Any questions about this element before I move on?
Yeah, there was one kind of general one while we were switching sub-elements. How complete would you say each of the sub-elements are right now as a percentage?
These are pretty complete. I'd say 80% there. The main things to look out for as incomplete in the showcase are some minor VFX things. Like if I shoot an arrow into the ground, you can see it kind of explodes in a burst of fire. It's not supposed to do that. And in another bridge, it's fixed. So I think those will be more partial effects later. The other things that are complete are some of the details of the moves. Like maybe the blood control isn't going to work like this ball of blood that you move around. Maybe it's instead going to be like a distant grab laser type move, or maybe something else entirely. Or maybe when it grabs things, it won't do a debuff, but will instead do some other effect, or maybe it'll do a different debuff, or that kind of thing. But I'd say the actual moves themselves, things like the blood orb and the blood laser and the blood claws, these are pretty much what you can expect.
And what about for the other sub-elements so far?
Yeah, the 4 sub-elements that I can show off today are all about at that 80 to 90% complete. Then there's 4 more sub-elements coming after these. Those are currently in the planning phases, so they're more like 10% complete. I have a list of moves that I want to put into them, but I have not actually implemented any of those yet. So you could say that sub-elements overall as an update is halfway there.
Can I use the blood control to throw an opponent away?
Yes, you can. And it works even better if you use both your hands at once. So if I grab this guy with 2 blood controls,
Can the claws be thrown like the ice daggers?
Yes, they can. And if I can actually hit, yeah, they'll kill things.
How much might is the blood bow?
3.
Someone said, please add a blood scythe.
Wait till you see Spirit. It has a scythe.
Do the tentacles change at all?
Nope, unchanged.
Can you dash out of the blood grab like air vacuum and tentacles?
Yes, you can.
Planning to be anything else with blood?
That's probably about the final list of moves there. So some of them might change. For example, maybe the blood orb would end up doing a debuff instead of more damage. Maybe it's the case that the blood control would work in a different way than like this ball of blood, and maybe it's something else. But this is probably the right number of moves and the right list of moves, even if the details could change a bit.
When you use blood, does it drain the other person's, any enemy's health or stamina?
No, it does not. Well, besides the damage that it does when you like grab someone and then boom, damage. That's draining their health. A previous iteration of Blood did have a lifesteal effect, so that when you would siphon out an enemy's blood, it would also heal you. But it ended up being very overpowered, because you could damage enemies and heal yourself and debuff enemies with a move that's basically impossible to dodge and also disorients them. It ended up being a little bit overpowered with all of that. So I took out the lifesteal part. That is one of the things that could change. You could add back in lifesteal and maybe remove something else instead.
And let's see here. Does the blood grapple do damage?
No.
Does bloodbending drain your health?
No, it does not.
I saw something about will the sub-elements be released all at once and the other 4 be released far later? We're gonna, whatever comes out when we do the sub-element update, it's all gonna be at the same time. We're not gonna do like half and half.
And the goal behind that is to get as many new players into the game as possible with one big update that puts us on the map for full release.
Yep. I'm going to answer this one more time, and I'm not going to again. And then my staff members can answer if it comes up. When approximately will the update be out? Fall, winter this year. And I'm not going to answer it again. So if someone else asks it, I'm going to ask my staff members to reply to you and say fall, winter this year if they haven't already, because I'm halfway down the chat. Are there going to be sub-element techniques?
No, they're going to share their techniques with the base element. Probably.
All right, why don't we... excuse me, sorry. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, lightning. Lightning's a fun one. So, the basic lightning move is you put both of your hands together, press both triggers, and it starts charging up lightning around your fists. And then it charges even bigger. Oh. And then punch forward. And it does a big lightning bolt. So this is a very kind of narrow attack, but it comes out instantly. Oops. So if you charge it up and you aim just right, which I didn't there, let me try again. Yeah, you can do a lot of damage from far away instantly. But the downside is that it's very hard to hit, as you can see by me missing it over and over again. So very kind of fast element, but also one that relies on a lot of precision and one that's definitely possible to dodge. But if you get it just right, you can do a bunch of very fast hits in a row that, isn't going to leave your opponent much room to evade, because these are all hit scan attacks. These aren't projectiles. So that's the lightning blast move. Next up, the lightning ball or lightning orb. It's not a good name for it. With electricity in your hands like this, pull your hands apart, and kind of like the fire orb, it creates a ball of lightning in your hands. You can throw this, and it grows over time, and it passes through targets and does a ton of damage. And it will also bounce off walls, just as a bonus. So if I charge this up again, you kind of throw it into the ground, and oops, don't think I even throw it over. You throw it into the ground, and it will bounce off and go through that guy a couple times and just do a ton of damage as it keeps going back and forth. Now, while this is a very, very powerful attack, it's also one that moves pretty slowly and is going to be totally possible to dodge. So, you see this coming at you, you got to get out of the way. And the ball lightning will just pierce through anything and will keep bouncing around. So it's a very, very dangerous, persistent stage hazard. You really got to avoid it.
Where's it going?
Off into the sky. Let's be free. Second to lastly, there's a move that I'm currently calling the lightning power, but that might need a better name. Hold this, tap grip, and it does a cone of damaging lightning in front of you. So, oops. If it's uncharged, the cone is very brief. It only lasts for half a second. But if you charge it up first, and then use it, you get 3 seconds of very high damage lightning to anything in front of you. Then the final move is that to replace the fire dagger, you just got a nice little lightning dagger. Behaves the same as the fire dagger for right now, but it looks cool. I like it. Just holding light in my hand. Yeah, no special mechanics though. The main move for lightning, and I think the one that really defines this element, is this forward lightning blast. Is, relatively... It's powerful if you can aim, but it requires a lot of aim. So yeah, that's the lightning sub-element. Any questions?
Alright, let's see here. How quickly can you shoot the normal lightning shot?
Yeah, so as you can see, there's a little bit of a charge-up period, and then the lightning appears around my hand, and I can actually shoot it. So the maximum fire rate is about 1 per second.
There's one comment that just says stamina usage. I don't know if it's a question, but I'm going to assume it's a question.
Yeah, you can fire this off at 1 per second pretty much as you want, because the stamina system only really kicks in once you're firing 2 or 3 attacks per second.
Is the lightning cone affected by Excalibur?
Currently, no, but maybe it should be. I'm open to people's thoughts on that. It's not quite melee, because it goes a decent distance in front of you, but it's also kind of melee.
Does lightning set people on fire?
If you have a technique that does that, then yes. At least it should. I haven't tested it recently. But yeah. If you have the Burning Embrace technique, then all of your attacks are supposed to light targets on fire. I may have broken lightning so it doesn't. Well, let me actually hit an attack. Okay, looks like lightning is currently broken and it's not doing that, but rest assured it should light targets on fire if you have that technique equipped.
Will the lightning ultimate change because of the lightning sub-element?
Current plan is no, it won't change. Because I think it's a cool ultimate, whether or not you have that sub-element equipped. This relates to something that we... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as a follow-up to that, if it's not going to change, but sub-elements end up getting their own ultimates, what would the lightning ultimate be?
Well, this would be the lightning sub-element's ultimate. So instead of lightning getting a new ultimate, fire would get a new ultimate for the base element.
Sure. Can you redirect the lightning? I think the answer to that's no.
Currently, no, unfortunately. It would be a cool thing to add in the future, but yeah, the closest thing we have to redirecting lightning is going to be the perfect parry.
Can I run blue fire and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that just relates to, again, there's like matchups, and I don't want to give any element an unfair matchup against anyone else. So if you could redirect lightning, that might give lightning users an unfair advantage against anyone who can redirect lightning. But you're asking blue fire, and yes, blue fire can be combined with lightning. So you can have these blue fire bolts and blue flamethrowers and so on, and then also, have lightning that charges really fast. Which is maybe pretty strong right now. But... Yeah, exactly.
How much might does the main lightning attack have?
2 uncharged, 4 charged. And then the lightning orb is going to be 3 uncharged, 6 charged, and the lightning power is, I think, a constant 3 might. It just asks for a different amount of time.
Someone's talking about lava wave stasis.
Yeah, lava wave stasis would work the same as water wave stasis, probably.
Will blue fire affect lightning charge time? I assume the answer is yes.
Yes, it does.
More of a general question. Will there be a new game mode when sub-elements come out?
If we have a good idea for a game mode, or if people have a good suggestion for one, then that's totally possible. There aren't any in the plans right now, but always open to suggestions.
And please put those suggestions in the suggestions forum and not just as a bunch of comments in this chat, because I won't be able to come back and look at this very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will we be able to switch between sub-element to main during matches? The answer to that is no. Just like any other element, you can't switch from fire to air during a match. You're not going to be able to switch from lightning sub to fire main.
It's like picking your character.
Will we be able to change certain moves to different sub-elects while still keeping regular moves? Each sub-element is like a set change. You're equipping this, it's going to change these moves. You can't really mix and match between other sub-elements or other elements or whatever.
And that's the limitation of the control scheme, because different elements just activate moves in different ways. Like when I do this and I fire a lightning blast, this doesn't correspond to any ability in the fire-based element. So, like, what would this substitute for? Yeah, same for, this orb. You'd say that corresponds to the fire orb, but then also, like, if I do a motion that would summon the fire bow, it'll also summon this orb. So there's just not a neat correspondence to the controls that would let us do that kind of thing.
What about super speed? Because that's often associated with lightning type effects.
Yeah, so there's the fire leap, but that's about as close as you get. I know that super speed is often associated with lightning, but I decided for now the right way for lightning to focus is going to be on your attacks being super fast, as opposed to you being super fast.
Wasn't there plans for a lightning bow?
I believe there were plans, and then I changed my mind. I implemented it, and then realized that, hey, this actually feels basically the same as the fire bow. This doesn't feel like a cool new move. But then when I implemented this version of the lightning blast, where you just keep punching forward and it keeps shooting, this felt better. But then you notice the same motion that I'm doing to punch is actually the same motion you do to draw the fire bow. So we can't have both this cool lightning blast move and the lightning bow move, and I prioritize the blast. And to follow up on that, I'll say that that's kind of how game design goes, and that it's never possible to know ahead of time exactly what's going to work. So I thought ahead of time that, hey, maybe the lightning bow would be a cool move. But then once I implemented it and started testing it in the game, it turned out I was wrong. It wasn't as cool as I thought it would be. But that's not a bad thing. That's just how game development works. We have ideas, but then we put them into the game and we test them. And based on how that tests go, we change them and we improve them. And we keep testing and changing and improving until we get the best possible game that comes out of it. So the future sub-elements are going to go through that process too. While I can, and I'm happy to, show off my plans for future sub-elements and the moves they'll have, those are just plans, and they're going to change. Just like a lightning bow was in my plans and then I realized it doesn't actually work, there's going to be a lot of moves for these future sub-elements that I can show off plans for, but some of them aren't going to work, and that's all right.
Will we ever get a better target practice area besides the two dummies or the drones, because they're very awkward to practice on?
Yeah, I would like to do that. Our level designer was making mock-ups for a whole target arena in another part of the hub world, but it wasn't quite right for target practice either. But I do think it'd be nice to have a better area for that. If you have a specific kind of target practice area that would be very helpful for you, please write that up in the suggestions channel. Because one of the issues we ran into when we were trying to add that area was we weren't totally sure what kind of targets would be the best to fight. Do you want stationary ones at different ranges? Do you want moving targets? Do you want targets that attack back? Let us know.
Is there going to be more cosmetics and more bundles?
Maybe. So more cosmetics is a definitely yes. More bundles is a maybe. Our character artist has been working on new outfits for each of the sub-elements, like a lava outfit or a blood outfit and so on. But we're currently not decided if we want to include that as just part of the main game or if we want to have new bundles for those or something else. And I don't have an answer to that because I don't know. It depends on how much people like the supporter pack. And yeah, I would again appreciate people's feedback on, do you want more bundles or do you want them to be part of the base game? And while I know, just putting them as part of the base game does mean you get them for free and that's great. Putting them into bundles does mean that we have more money to develop the game into the future. So if you do think that these would be popular with a bunch of people as paid bundles, that would mean that we would have the funds to make the game better overall. So yeah, there's some trade-offs there, and I want to hear what everyone has to say.
All right, one more before we move on to the last sub-element.
Yes.
What's your plan to finesse maturity ratings now that people are shooting blood lasers?
Don't worry about it. It's not real blood. It's it's kind of blood, but that could be ketchup.
It's red water. Kool-Aid.
Yeah. There's not gore in the game or anything. The blood is it behaves kind of like colored water, and it doesn't behave like you're cutting someone open. So I personally don't feel like that would affect our maturity rating or would be inappropriate for kids. It's no more violent than throwing a ball of fire at someone.
All right, let's move on to spirit bending. I think that's the one people have been asking the most about just before this even, in general in chat, because they have no idea how the hell spirit is going to work.
Oh yeah, prepare to be surprised, by the way. Spirit's a crazy one. So, Spirit only has 3 moves. It has the fewest moves, but it's the weirdest, and you'll see what I mean. First move is pretty simple. Spirit Bolt. It hits kind of like the Fire Bolt. Summon it in your hand, it charges up, you get a larger version. If you just throw the bolt at something, it's like the Fire Bolt, does a little bit of damage. Charges up, again, like the Fire Bolt, except now it explodes on hit. If I can actually hit. There we go. So, okay. And yeah, there's a few effects here that are old and they're changed to another branch, so these aren't quite final effects. So that's the first of 3 moves. Nothing great so far. Next move is some of this tap grip. You get a scythe. Spirit scythe. Ooh. So it's a melee weapon. But you might have seen something weird just there. If I throw the scythe, whenever it lands, I teleport. So yeah, you can do all kinds of crazy tricks with the scythe. Teleport here, or maybe I want to teleport over there. Or maybe I want to throw it that way and then throw another one this way and let's see where I land. Oh, teleported here, but that one's still going. So when it hits, teleport down here and let's throw another one up here. So I've teleported here and that one's still falling. So when it lands, now I'm back. So this one's kind of crazy and we'll see how well it works. This is one of the iffy ones of maybe the teleporting is overpowered, but maybe not. Because just like I can see the scythe falling and I can see where it's about to land, my enemies can see where the scythe is about to land too. And once I've thrown the scythe, I can't do anything to stop the teleport that's about to happen. So if I throw the scythe at you, and then you charge up like a lava wave or something, then I appear here and immediately get smashed in the face by a lava wave.
You throw the scythe off the edge of the map, you fall and die.
Yeah, that was a fun bug to fix. If your scythe went off the edge of the map because you can't do anything to stop it or cancel the teleport, it used to be that it would just immediately teleport you to the death zone and insta-kill you. That bug has been fixed. Throwing the scythe off the edge of the map will now not teleport you and insta-kill you.
Aww.
It was really fun though. But like, imagine you throw the scythe at someone and they use the air vacuum and they grab the scythe and they just deposit the scythe off the edge of the map. Yeah.
Wait, could I just hold on to the scythe indefinitely until they want to put it down and just threaten you with it?
Yes, you can do that.
Oh
no. And if you time it just right, you could probably also grab the scythe out of the air with something like the water grapple in order to influence where the person teleports to. So, all kinds of tricks possible.
If you thought this is crazy, just wait till the next one.
Yeah, so this is move 2 out of 3. The craziest one is last. Press both your hands together like you're about to summon an air sword. Press trigger, and poof, spirit form. My body is here. My spirit is here. So I can fly around however I want. Similar controls to the spectator mode. And I can use all of my abilities. I can use the spirit abilities, I can use my air abilities, I can, throw air drills and all that. My spirit body is totally immune to damage. You cannot hit my spirit body. However, my normal body is totally vulnerable to damage. And if you hit the normal body, I get pretty badly hurt from that. So when you leave your body and go into spirit form, you have the potential to really damage your enemies in a way where they can't hurt you back. But once they actually reach your body, then they can just totally wail on you and you can't dodge or defend yourself at all. So, high risk, high reward. And you could do some weird things like you can hit your normal body with moves to knock yourself around, if you want to be silly about it. So there's a few limitations. Like if I go too far from my normal body, I snap back into it. If I teleport, then that teleports me back into my body as well. And yeah, I'll have to double check this, but I think the version that I'm currently on says that if you hit my spirit body with a powerful enough attack, that will also send you back into your body. So the spirit form, I think, would take a lot reduced damage, but I don't think it's currently totally invincible in this version. But I do need to double check that. Spirit's kind of crazy. You can just go into spirit form, you can teleport around, and you've got like all these bolts and stuff, and I think it's going to be the trickiest sub-element to figure out the metaphor. Because the spirit form is very powerful, it has big drawbacks, and same for the sets. I imagine that there's a lot of questions about spirit.
There's a lot of comments, questions. One is the scythe is tiny and that it looks like a climbing pick. You might want to consider a different model.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of meant to be. I should say again, all the VFX here are temporary. On the other branch, we did make it a little bit larger, though not a huge amount larger. Thing is, it's a one-handed scythe. It's really more of a sickle. So a normal scythe would be a lot bigger, but also a normal scythe would be two-handed. So we kind of have to make it smaller. Yeah, it's
It looks like a toothpick.
It doesn't feel like a toothpick in VR. Maybe it looks smaller through the stream, but yeah. They are meant to be small one-handed tools, not giant two-handed ones.
What happens if you spam scythes with both hands?
I imagine that I will start teleporting a lot. Yeah, this happens.
Can you use the scythe to teleport under the map?
It's probably possible, though I haven't been able to do it yet. Because kind of your feet teleport to wherever the scythe lands, so it will usually put you a little bit above the scythe, and that helps a bit. If people are finding ways to glitch into the ground with the scythe, then I could do things like make it so that it will instead teleport you to the last valid position instead of exactly where the scythe lands.
Would it be possible for the scythe to have a trail or a bigger aura to make it a bit easier to spot?
Yeah, so it has a trail. At least it usually has a trail. That's something that the VFX again are tweaked on. It shouldn't be that kind of trail, but it should instead be a distinctive white trail, kind of like that. But yeah, I can agree that the trail needs to be bigger and changed a bit.
In reference to the spirit form, but I'm also curious about the scythe. How far can you go?
So the scythe is as far as the projectile moves. So in practice, that's going to be 30-ish meters or so. I don't think you could travel much more than 30 meters with the scythe unless you have like the high ground and you get just the right angle with that. So this throw is probably going to be more like 40, but it's about the limit. The spirit form is about the same. You go more than, I think it's 20 or 30 meters, and it just teleports you back into your body. And that's a hard limit, where if you're ever more than that far from your body, it just immediately poof back in. And you can tell when you're reaching that limit when your hands start flashing a very dangerous red color. Like, yep, I'm about to teleport back, and poof.
All right, what if you go under the chessboard map and then go into spirit mode?
That would be bad. So, yeah, I want to fix the bugs with people getting into the chessboard map. That should not be happening.
Will sub-elements have level requirements?
Probably yes, but they're not going to be very strict level requirements. It'll probably be something like level 15 to get the first sub-element, level 25 to get the second one. But as always, I'm open to people's feedback on that. I want to make the sub-elements accessible to as many players as possible, so any level requirements would be mostly there just to make sure that you've had a chance to learn the base element before you start also trying to learn a bunch of more complicated moves on top of that.
How will the spirit form work in knockback mode?
So it's your body is the thing that can be hit. So in knockout mode, just like normal, it's you hit the body and the body gets knocked back further and further with every attack.
And while you're in there, can you air vacuum yourself?
No. If you did have two spirit players, they could air vacuum each other. Actually, there's a bit of a bug where I'm kind of air vacuuming myself in a way that's not quite right. Am I air vacuuming my spirit form? Okay. Yeah, bit of a bug. I seem to be able to air vacuum my spirit form. That's not supposed to be happening. You're not supposed to be able to air vacuum yourself. It could be maybe a little bit too powerful if you can just grab your body and fly anywhere you want.
How quickly can you return to your body?
Pretty quickly. You just hold the triggers to activate it in the same way that you do to. So you activate it by holding the triggers, same thing deactivates it. Just press both hands together for a fraction of a second and you're back. And then the other ways to return are if you go outside of your range, instantly return, or if you have a scythe teleport, instantly return.
When you're in spirit form, do you go through objects?
No, you don't. You are still limited by walls. Yeah, any more questions?
I'm reading. Are sub-elements going to have their own levels? Which I think the answer is no. They're just along the same tree as their main element?
Yeah. Because they are still part of the original element. They're not new elements.
Can you enter spirit, then carry a large tornado with you?
No, because you cannot summon tornadoes in spirit form. Because the controller would summon the tornado instead summons the scythe.
Can you throw a scythe into the air and hit it with projectile to teleport you into the air?
I think if someone else hits it with projectile, that theoretically would work. But I think you can't hit the scythe with your own projectiles. Or at least I can't.
One of my favorite comments so far. Guys, I'm scared.
Good. You should be.
Can you ult in spirit form?
Yes, you can.
And what moves were replaced for spirit?
Well, spirit form is the same control as the air sword. So spirit form replaces air sword and air glider and air wheel because those both come out of air sword. So unfortunately, when you are the spirit sub-element, you cannot use the air sword or glider combo to move around. So that's a trade-off. You get extra mobility through the scythes and through the spirit form, but you lose the very, very good mobility of the air sword and air glider.
Is there a time limit for spirit mode?
No, there's not.
Will the astral projection be able to go through Earth's walls? Which I think we kind of answered. It doesn't go through any objects because you're not exactly. You're still a being.
I think it doesn't go through Earth walls right now. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure on this version there have been a bunch of different versions of this. But large enough attacks will knock you out of spirit form, and earth walls count as one of those attacks. So if you get hit by a large earth wall in spirit form, I think that would do enough damage to knock you out. But let's just double check. Yeah, I'm not able to move through my own wall.
If you have a team battle with two spirit benders, they can play keep away, referencing back to, I think, the vacuum holding each other.
Yes. It does have the normal limits of you can only fly for so long. So yeah, you could only air vacuum each other for so long, but within that time limit, you could.
How will sub-elements work in Ascended Master mode?
The current plan is that whatever sub-elements you have equipped are also going to appear in Ascended Master. So right now I've equipped Lava, Blood, Lightning, and Spirit. So when I'm in the Ascended Master mode, I would have Earth Lava moves, and Water Blood moves, and Fire Lightning moves, and Air Spirit moves all firing at the same time. There might be a couple exceptions, like maybe Spirit Form would be disabled in Ascended Master mode if that ends up being a bit OP, but we'll play those as they come.
The minus 30% damage technique, is that on your physical body or spirit body?
I believe that is your physical body.
I guess that leads into how the techniques work in general when you're in spirit mode. If you are you gonna do less damage if you've equipped something that does less damage? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, you have all of your normal techniques in spirit form. Those are unchanged.
Can you be grabbed by Earth Hands and Water Dagger and anything else that grabs you while in spirit form?
That's a great question. I am not actually sure what would happen if you tried that right now.
Crashes the game.
Maybe.
Spirit went from overpowered to extremely weak, broken heart. Please at least let us keep glider. Crying emoji. Well, I mean, you can literally fly. Why do you need glider? That's my comment anyway.
There's gotta be trade-offs. Sure, you can teleport, and sure, you can go into a form where you are like literally immune to all damage as your real body is safe. But those strengths have to come with a weakness. Sorry.
Will the devs wear a Gort shirt someday?
Never. I'm anti-Gort. I have to be because the other devs have been corrupted.
Yeah. Isn't glider slower than spirit flight anyway? Spirit is also omnidirectional. Yeah, probably.
I think glider would probably be a bit faster if you get at least a good run up. And then the air sword is going to give you more instant mobility. But yeah, they're not going to let you hover as well.
Are you planning to make spawn bigger?
What does that mean?
I believe the spawn area, this platform you're approaching, are we planning to make it bigger?
I mean, that wasn't part of our plans already, but if that is something that a lot of people want, then we can make that happen. So yeah, if you want to see a bigger spawn or a spawn with a much better training area to practice on dummies, please write that up in the suggestions channel. Value all of that feedback.
Alright, so that was the last sub-element. Does anyone have any other last questions about any sub-element before we move on from this?
Should say, of the 4 sub-elements that we have drafts of right now.
Yeah, of the 4 that we have shown today. And I saw a couple of questions about, did I miss this? Did I miss that? Whatever. Yes, because we've already finished Showcase. We are recording this. It will be posted on our YouTube later. Either today or tomorrow, probably. Yeah. Wind cheese bending.
Cheese
April Fools, maybe. We'll see.
What element would that even be a part of? Water?
Probably lava.
Wait, why does lava get cheese?
Because lava's like molten lava, molten cheese. I
don't know, but I mean, you're the person who had the username named after macaroni and cheese, so you guess you're the expert.
Yeah, that's what I would pick, but I don't know. Wind rubber bending. Rubber is not a planned sub-element.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please show how quick you can activate and cancel spirit to see if it can be used for a quick attack at a different angle?
It's meant to have a little bit of delay, so you can do about this fast. If activated, attack, back. There's also delay between when you go back into your body, you can't immediately go to spirit form again. You can go out, do a few attacks, and then come back. About that fast. It's generally not something that you want to use when you're in melee range with an opponent, because as soon as you leave your body behind, you're vulnerable. It's more of a long distance type of.
Will admins and up get their own element? No? Why would we? I'm lucky we even got a cape. Like.
It takes a lot of work to make elements, and I want all of the elements to be accessible to everyone who plays the game.
Yeah. When will development on the other sub-elements like metal start?
Well, it already has, a little bit at least, in that I have design documents for the remainder of the sub-elements. But if you mean when those design documents would start getting turned into code, that's what I was planning to do later this week. So, tomorrow.
Does Blood Bow replace Bubble?
Yes, so the Blood Orb and Blood Laser and the Blood Bow replace the Water Bubble, Water Snowstorm, the Water Ring, Water Saw, and Ice Shard.
Can you activate Spirit and move forwards through your body instead of backwards?
No, by default, Spirit will send you slightly backwards always. But it's only very slightly, it's like half a meter, so if you're moving forwards while you do it, it ends up being like barely noticeable, and then you just accelerate.
Will Storm let us keep Air Sword, Glider, and Wheel? Please, I beg, I need a sub-bending with my Air Sword, crying emoji, broken heart.
Yes, it will. My rough plan for all of the sub-elements is that if one sub-element removes a move, the other sub-element is going to keep that move. Because every move is someone's favorite. So I don't want to have any moves that are just totally gone with all the sub-elements, if possible.
Could you freeze mid-air with Spirit? Do you mean just like, can you fly within and just stop and stay there? Yeah, you should be able to, just like any other spectator mode.
So yeah, but if your body is midair, your body does fall.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, normal
And
spirit,
there's not fall
I can
damage.
hover as long as I want. Body, it falls.
Any plans for an element to have a summon type ability?
No. I'm assuming by a summon type ability you mean something that will summon an NPC that fights on your side. So I'll admit that is like a little bit of a possibility with a plant move that I might have thought a bit. I'm currently leaning towards no. My reasoning is that Elements is a fighting game, and a fighting game is about your personal mechanical skill. A summon move means that you get an ally that fights for you, that you aren't directly controlling, and that doesn't directly depend on your skill. So that goes a little bit against the core idea of the game to have something fighting for you instead of you fighting. Now, there are cases where it does make sense. Maybe if it's a pretty weak summon and your skill comes in and like where you're summoning it and can you catch your enemies off guard when you summon it, that could maybe work, but no current plans for that kind of move.
Will you make more sub-elements in the future, like sand or glass? Well, we do have plans for 4 others that aren't shown here. And those are metal, plants. Oh god, what are the other 2? Storm.
Metal, plants, explosion, and storm.
Yeah, explosion. That's the one I just couldn't even. So sand or glass are not planned currently. We need to finish these 8 sub-elements first before we consider are we ever going to add any more. But there's not any current plans outside of the planned 8 to add more. That doesn't mean it's impossible or it'll never happen, but if it did, it would not be anytime soon.
And to add on to that, it all depends on how popular the game is. If Elements becomes a super popular game and a lot of people join for the full release, then yeah, we're going to keep working on it, and we're going to keep adding features as long as we can. But, you know, that depends on there being a lot of people playing the game for us to be able to add things like that.
About the summon move, could it be a summon in the sense of a clone instead of a familiar, like a static energy clone that does all of your moves mirrored, like Rosalina and Luma in Smash?
That would be kind of crazy. That would compete with Spirit Form for like most busted move. It's cool, but I don't know what sub-element that fits with.
Will the teleport of, I assume it's a scythe, will teleport also have a cooldown for getting out of Spirit?
Yes, when you teleport, it kicks you out of Spirit. And then once you're kicked out of Spirit, there's a cooldown between when you can enter Spirit again. The cooldown applies no matter how you exit Spirit Form.
Alright. I think that's, well, okay. But I'm gonna cut it off here. Last question on specifically these sub-elements. So what is stopping spirit benders from hiding on the side of the map and then just going up in spirit form and third-partying people?
Yeah, so main thing that's going to stop you is the distance limit. If you're off the side of the map, that means you're far away from the action, which means you can only get so close to the action before you just snap back. But let's say there's some people who happen to be fighting near you, and then you try to do that. Well, those people can see that giant plume of pink energy rising into the sky, and they can see you in spirit form rapidly approaching them, and they can see this tether linking you to your body. And when everyone sees that, they know that that giant pink ray of smoke means, hey, there is an extremely vulnerable enemy waiting right there. Maybe you want to attack them. And if you're focusing on interrupting other people's fights and you're not guarding your body, then your enemies can do the same to you. And they can sneak up on you and they can absolutely demolish your body while you're distracted with a different fight.
But can't they also just throw a scythe to teleport insanely far away when people go after their body?
Yes, if you know that someone's going after your body. And when you throw the scythe, that's also guaranteeing that you're going to appear at that new spot. So any enemy who's actively chasing you can say, hey, I know that you're going to appear there. And lastly, if I remember correctly, the current version of the spirit form isn't totally invincible, it's just resilient. So if I'm harassing you with a spirit body and I'm like, I'm invincible, you can't hurt me. If you hit me with a strong enough attack, that will actually hurt me a bit. But it's a combination of, I gotta defend my body, I'm not totally invincible, and if I try to teleport, you know that I'm teleporting. Is it totally balanced? I really have no idea. And Mac, maybe this is a time to talk about how we're going to do balance testing for these sub-elements before release.
Sure.
Go over that?
So, yeah. And I think at this point, you can probably get out of the game if you want to. So, yeah, sub-elements, balance testing, whatever. Obviously, we're not just going to test them between, like, 2 or 3 of us and then go, yeah, that's probably balanced, and then push it out to tens of thousands of people. That would be a bad idea. Some people know and some don't. We have beta testers. Most of them are people who were beta testers before the game came out. Some are, I guess, more active community members that have stuck around or came in after the game came out. And they test all the updates before they get pushed out to live. That will include sub-elements. Because everyone's going to ask, not adding new beta testers right now. And if you ask me to be a beta tester, almost certainly, definitely not going to be one, at least not right at the moment. I add beta testers when I notice there's people that are actually helpful, useful, and they make a lot of good suggestions, they play the game for hours and hours, they're around a lot, that kind of thing. And the reason why is we have literally thousands of people in this Discord. If I tried to open up beta tester applications, it would take me weeks to go through them. And a lot of the time, what we noticed during beta before release, people never even play the game. They don't actually provide any feedback. So, yeah, we will be balance testing sub-elements with beta testers that we already have. And hopefully it goes well. And then we'll probably make changes from what you've seen here once some of the top tier players actually get their hands on stuff. And we hope to do that. We want to get sub elements out hopefully before the end of the year. So sometime before then, but I can't really be much more specific than that. Yeah, Rory, did I miss anything?
Sounds right to me.
Sounds like I'm reading through. If I win the tournament, could I be a beta tester? You know what? Sure. If you can win an entire tournament, I'll make you a beta tester. But I sincerely wish you luck with that. I don't know if you've seen the people who won the last few tournaments, but they're pretty good. The current plan is to release all 8 sub-elements at the same time. Yes, that is the current plan. Silksong tomorrow. Yes, this is being filmed the day before Silksong releases. Congratulations to all the Silksong fans who have been waiting 7 years. From DCVR, who's a beta tester. Any Kun, we're getting the beta. That's something I can answer in like private chats, but I'm not going to answer it on a recorded live stream. Or by private chats, I mean in the beta channel. If you ask it there, I can give you an idea. Who are all the beta testers? Like I said, mostly people who were beta testers in the past, plus some of the newcomers who came after the game came out and have mostly stuck around since then, or compete a lot, or have 300 hours in the game or whatever. The goal of beta testers is you're someone who's dedicated and going to actually play that beta and give feedback on it, hopefully. Yeah, the beta is partially we want you to have fun. It's a game, obviously, but it's also partially we need feedback to make this a good product. Can Can metal bending have guns and have it be called gun bending? No.
Hold up, though. We could.
No, we don't need to do that.
But it'd be funny. We got the swords, we could add
Yes,
guns.
guns. we don't need guns. It's not a shooter.
But we could make it a shooter.
Will we get beta applications, or do you just gain it by being good at the game? Like I mentioned not even 2 minutes ago, there's no beta applications because there are thousands of people in this Discord. If I tried to open beta applications and said, come test sub-elements, I would have literally hundreds of applications to go through, and most of those people would never even give feedback. So that's why we don't do that. As for being good at the game, if you're someone who sticks around a lot and is notably like commenting or makes suggestions about balance and reporting bugs and that kind of thing, or sure, you win a tournament, yeah, you might get beta, but it's more of a, not even really a lottery system. It's just whatever I think feels right, which I know seems very arbitrary, but yeah, that you work in a community long enough, you kind of get a feel for these kind of things of, is this person actually going to give feedback on something or not, and not just play it for the sake of, ooh, this is fun, and then give us 0 feedback. Tournament when? The next tournament, if you join the ranked Discord, which you can find the invite link for that in the FAQ channel, question number 8. The next tournament is scheduled for September 27th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. The registration closes September 15th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it's open for registration's open for another couple weeks. And like I say, you can get that in the ranked Discord. You keep mentioning, do you know about the tree branch in the hub world map? You're gonna have to be a lot more specific than that. There's a lot of trees in the hub world. What are our opinions on Superfly with our current game dev knowledge? Rory?
Yeah, so Superfly was our previous game before Elements, and it was the first game that anyone on the team had actually published as a professional product. Looking back on it now, when I play Superfly, I'm like, wait a second, the movement in this game is actually kind of great. Like, we did an amazing thing with the movement in Superfly. I'm so very proud of that. Everything else in the game, that's a bit iffier. Like, the combat in Superfly wasn't amazing, and there weren't really any objectives to do, and there really could be more boss enemies and maybe some actual missions. This movement, though, movement's still amazing.
Yeah. I think Superfly was a great learning opportunity in general. Personally, I did not expect to work in game development, and I did not expect to work in it for now 5 years. So I quite enjoy my job, and I like being here. And Superfly was kind of a good first step into learning how could I better manage the community we have now and help produce games and game design and that kind of thing. Because I mean, Superfly's server was, I think we capped out at about 1,200. We have almost 5,000 here, so it's definitely different, especially single player versus multiplayer and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think back fondly on Superfly, even despite the fact that it's primarily dead at this point. Rory, why don't you guys save a ton of development time by saying metal is just the source?
Oh, great idea. Thanks. We'll do that.
Yeah. I know this isn't a sub-ending question. However, for what it's worth, you can ask anything at this point. This is just open Q&A time. I kind of forgot to state that. Ask whatever. Is there anything you can share about the next patch notes? Yeah, I can share a little bit. We're adding a couple, not a couple. We're adding a new, wait, no. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We're adding more custom game mode settings in the next update. Things like disable dashes, disable blocking, or ultimates, or perfect blocking, and some others. disable stage hazards in public lobbies, and overall fixing a bunch of bugs. Rory, can you do more math so we can get stuff like the meteor again? It weighs 6 times less than the car.
Well, if you want more questions about the weights of things, feel free to ask. But I will say the weight of the things is more determined by what makes the physics engine work, because the physics engine is very finicky, than what would actually make sense. Because the physics engine we're using, called Photon Quantum, which also is netcode, has a bunch of limitations compared to normal physics engines. So we weren't quite able to use realistic numbers everywhere.
As a point of reference for everyone, we're about 4 or 5 minutes behind live chat, and that may get more over time. So don't spam your question multiple times. But yeah, because we'll get to it eventually, hopefully, or we'll run out of time. But yeah, Rory, I'm really wanting to learn to code, etc. Is game development hard or difficult?
Yeah, so I wrote up a thing in the chat about that, but the quick answer is yes, game development is very hard if you want to do it professionally. However, it's also easy to get started. If you just want to do game development as a hobby, there's a lot of great introductory tutorials out there for either people who have experience coding, or if you have no experience in coding, there's ways to get started for everyone. If you do want to become a professional game developer, my biggest piece of advice is practice. I've gotten to the point where I am now after, I don't know, it's probably 15 years of game development being like the main hobby I had and then my real job. So that's 15 years of practice for me. And I believe that any one of you listening in, if you put in those same 15 years of practice, could get to be here too. But don't expect it to be something that you pick up in 3 months and then you're suddenly professional at. In 3 months, you can make something simple and you can make something fun. But there's a lot of room to learn beyond that.
A point of reference, Rory and I are only 26. Well, I'm 26 in a couple weeks. So his 15 years, a lot of it was as a teenager, child, whatever, just messing around and stuff. Or I assume that's correct.
Yeah, because game development, even when starting in early middle school, that was my main hobby. I would go home and I would just program games, and then I would bring those games to school and keep programming them at school. I remember I had a graphing calculator and I programmed games in the TI Basic on it and showed them to friends at lunch and stuff like that. And I've been doing it every day since.
I guess kind of leading into that, what is Superfly? And I mention that because you actually started Superfly quite a while before it ever became a commercial product.
Mm-hmm. So game development was my hobby for a long, long time, and I was just constantly making things. And eventually I decided, I kind of want to make a VR thing. I was working on a custom game engine at the time, and I was like, I want to add VR support to my engine. And I had just seen the Into the Spider-Verse movie. Great movie series, by the way, everyone. I recommend you watch it. And I was like, I want to make a Spider-Man VR game. So the hobby project that I was working on in the background, I made a Spider-Man VR game, then I extended a bit, and I was like, I'll add Iron Man, and then I'll add Frozone. And then it started actually being really fun. So that's how I transitioned from game development from just a hobby that I would always do in my free time to be a professional thing. Eventually, one of the projects that I had made just ended up being fun enough to play on my own that I decided I'm going to make this a commercial thing and published it. So yeah, that's the backstory of Superfly and the backstory of Locomotion Devs as a company.
Comments of Superfly died peacefully of old age.
No, it's not dead. It's still alive. It's the game's done. It's not dead. It's just grown up.
The concept of games being done is so foreign to people nowadays. We worked on Superfly for 3.5, 4 years or something before since its first update to last. That's a long time to work on a game, especially a single player one. Could y'all explain how an ice rainbow can completely redirect a whole meteor?
And don't underestimate the power of rainbows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the technical answer is about like dynamic versus kinematic physics objects, but like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Uh, from John, my advice is not start by trying to build a whole game. Start by prototyping mechanics, features you're excited about. I think that's great advice, and I call this out because John was one of our developers on Superfly, who occasionally comes into these events, so he was there. Will we ever get cactus juice?
Just drink cactus juice in real life. You don't need to add to the game.
It's the quenchiest. I saw a few comments about can we please eat moss? I love eating moss. Please don't do that. I'm not sure how we even add that to a game. Since half the people are here, you should change the timer from 2 minutes to 1 minute 20 seconds. Actually, I changed it to 1 minute like 20 minutes ago. So, is Rory going to be playing Silk Song?
Actually, no. I really didn't like Hollow Knight, so I am not at all hyped for Silk Song.
Prepare to get heated.
I just don't like Metroidvanias or platformers. I mean, yep. Sorry, everyone, but not the game for me.
Yep. I have not played any of the. I don't know how many games are in the series, but I have not played any of them, so I won't be playing it unless someone really manages to convince me to start from the beginning. But I don't think so. So it's come up a few times. Can lightning have red lightning, like how fire has blue fire and gives special effect, but has drawbacks like blue fire does? I don't know if there's going to be sub-element specific techniques.
Probably not. I'd prefer if all the techniques were shared across the element so that you could have more diversity. If you had a special red lightning technique, then that's saying, oh, this cool technique that would have a fun power, you just can't equip most of the time, even if you are fire. I think it'd be more fun if all the techniques were equipable at any time so you could mix and match and come up with some creative builds. And yeah, Matt, could you handle questions for a couple minutes? I'll be right back.
Sure. How did the other members of the team join? So in reference to specifically the Elements team, 3 of us were from Superfly, which is myself, Rory, and another programmer, Aaron, who's not here. Or wait, no, is he here? Yeah, Aaron is here, but he's not in the voice. Everybody go scream at Aaron. And then the other 4, because we used to have another one, she doesn't work with us or sorry, no, 4 of us were from Superfly. And the 4th one does not work with us anymore. And the other 3, one was a connection from Rory from college, I believe. And then the other 2 were external hires. We put out job applications, they applied, and they got chosen out of their respective 50 pools of applicants each. And to, I guess, further add on to that, we're kind of spread all over the place. Half of us are on the West Coast, and then one in Canada, one on the East Coast, and one in South America, I believe. Can we add Jimmy to Flamingo with a sombrero? Win a tournament, and then we can add the sombrero to either the existing Flamingo or add another one. Okay, explain how I can attach an ice grapple to a magic ice wall and fly like an airplane. Yeah, it's definitely intended.
No, I won't explain that. Figure it out.
Yeah, so why don't you describe the physics? I'm not going to elaborate. Will other elements be getting a 5th technique because fire has 5 techniques right now?
Eventually, yeah. And if you have suggestions for techniques, please put them in the suggestions channel.
And that also answers, I think there were some previous questions of, will we add more techniques? Techniques aren't too awful difficult to add. So yeah, if you have ideas for new techniques, we might be able to add them if they're good ideas, hopefully. And not just I fly infinitely and no one else does. Something about devs playing poker. That would be kind of a separate event. If you really want to play poker with the devs event, make a suggestion, I guess, and I will consider it for the next community event. When are we adding Puffin's wife Chill Out? Add it to the lore. If I'm correct, Chill Out is from Brazen Blaze. I don't know any of their devs, but I don't think they would take too kindly to randomly adding their IP to our IP. Also, I'm not sure how much sense it would make, but will sword bending be getting a buff? No is not allowed.
The answer is no. So the serious answer is sword bending is intentionally in the game as a challenge mode. It's meant to be much, much weaker than the normal elements. You know, it's kind of a joke mode for if you want to like go the really hard route and you still win, then that's bragging rights. And we diminish that if we make it, well, easier to use.
Or actually viable. Where can I find the recording of the sub-elements showcase? So this developer Q&A and the showcase are all one big thing. The event is still actively ongoing, so there won't be a recording until after the event is over. And that recording will probably be posted on our YouTube channel either later today or tomorrow, depending on if I run into any issues trying to export it and that kind of thing. Will there be any way to fix my head trauma from getting drop kicked by earthbenders so much? Yeah, it's funny because most of the earthbenders I hear from since the last patch or whatever are like, oh, I'm not playing earth anymore. The walls are air. Yet apparently not everyone thinks that.
One thing I want to bring up is that got some other things to show off if people are interested related to plans for future sub-elements. And a few questions for actually the community as well of some vague ideas for the future and maybe some quick polls to run if people are interested. But we should probably answer people's pressing questions first.
Yeah. Will you make merch? If you will, I will buy it. Boy, do I have the news for you. If you go to locomotindevs.com/shop, you can buy merch right now. Ooh, I just added a bunch of new merch too. And also if locomotindevs.com/shop doesn't work, just go to locomotindevs.com and click on the merch tab. It's there. Hatsune Miku sub-element. Okay, like with Chill Out, we don't have the rights to Hatsune Miku. Also, I don't think that fits with the game. Please nerf infinite flight with air dashing because my neck hurts from looking up. I wasn't aware of any current infinite flight issues with air, but feel free to put something in either suggestions or bugs, depending on what the cause of it is, and we'll look into it.
Yeah, infinite flight is not something that I want to keep in the game. If that's possible, we're going to remove it. Just let us know how it's happening.
Yep. Rory, why don't you go ahead and run your polls and questions?
Yeah, so I guess the first question I had for the group is related to future sub-elements. So, I have plans and ideas for what future sub-elements could be. And, these are just plans, but the vague idea is that metal would be kind of like a faster version of Earth. Its focus would be the metal whips, especially. And it'd be all about being sharp, fast, light, precise.
Probably zoom in a lot because it's really hard to read any of that.
Oh, got it. Is this better?
There we go. Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. So yeah, metal is meant to be sharp, fast, light, precise. And the metal whips, which would be kind of similar to the water tentacles, would be its main move about that. It lets it move around a lot faster than normal Earth. Explosion from fire would be all about charged wide area attacks that are like especially good at close range, where they're harder to dodge. It would have all kinds of different explosions, but especially like a version of the flamethrowers that just shoots explosions instead. I think very much Bakugo from My Hero Academia. It's a big inspiration. And then Storm for air, it's kind of like an aggressive version of air. Instead of an air shield, it gets an aura that damages people around it. So on. So my point in going through all of these is that all of these sub-elements have themes and focuses. Metal is fast. Explosion is close range and powerful. Storm is aggressive instead of defensive. Plants, that one's a bit less clear, because plants go a lot of different ways in different media. So some possibilities, for example, are maybe plants as thorns. So maybe it's all about like damage reflection, summoning objects that hurt you if you touch them, so on. It could be plants as life. Maybe plants is a more positive thing. There's flowers and healing abilities and manipulating the terrain. It could be instead plants as like trees, where it's plants are rooted to the ground. They're stationary. They're sturdy. When you pick the plant sub-element, then you become a lot harder to move and then more defense. And I want to hear from the people here. What direction do you think plants should go? What is the identity or theme behind the sub-element, in your opinion?
Can I become a tree?
Yeah. For example, thinking maybe plant's main move should be like a vine tentacle, where it replaces your water tentacles with a version that's longer and better at grabbing enemies, but worse at moving yourself. Kind of like you're rooted to the ground where you're using them, but then you can grab enemies better. Or maybe plants can, instead of the water geyser, maybe they like summon plants out of the ground whenever you pull up like that. And then the plants that you summon out of the ground, maybe they give you buffs when you're near them, or maybe they damage enemies that stand on them or go near them. Yeah.
Make it like Trunk from Brawl Stars.
I don't know that character, but if you want to elaborate on them, that'd be appreciated.
Plants should be like the Druid Path from Bloons 6. Bloons TD 6.
I don't know what that is either.
How do you not play Okay, we're playing Bloons one of these.
No, I have played Bloons. I just don't remember all the paths.
Uh-huh.
I remember there's a druid that... Were they the one with the whirlwind? No, that was a mage. Huh. I don't know. Whatever.
Plants should be defensively and offensively like a middle ground. There's a ton of types of plants.
Defense, offense. Sure. But that doesn't give an answer as to what it is, because the base water sub-element is also a middle ground between defense and offense.
I believe plants should be based around creating structures kind of like Earth, but much more flexible and having multiple functions. From the next one above that, mostly centered around stage control with plants that have a few minor effects. Tripwire, slowness via pollen, shotgun bolts. Yeah. Zyra from League of Legends. That one you should know. Also, TKO plays League of Legends.
Huh?
I was just thinking a joke because it's like, oh, you play League of Legends? Ew. Like,
yeah.
I also play League of Legends. I'm a filthy leaguer.
Yep.
Plant bending should be like how it was.
Community event, League of Legends night.
I don't know if anyone would join me. That'd be a fun custom, though. I don't know. Someone should put that in suggestions so I can justify doing it.
No one do that.
Plant bending should be like how it was in Avatar. Water is a fast and versatile element. Maybe do a bit of the opposite, like how that one guy from Avatar makes a big plant he was inside of and controls. They should be expensive with area control. Make your opponents biodegradable. I don't.
They are already technically.
Yeah. Grow the plants. You can only use it in areas where you've grown them. That might be too limiting, but I don't know. This depends on how easy is it to grow plants. Tico, you play Wild Rift? Okay, now you're a Filthy League player. Gross. Wild Rift's just, I feel like arguably worse, but it gets all the best skins and very salty. Add a pitcher plant move like Earth Trap, but swallows them whole and does passive damage, but it's super easy to escape and it's not spammable, and you can send them out and make like a minefield. That's a lot of requirements on one move. But
it makes sense though.
Bullet Seed, like the move from Pokemon. A couple examples, some plant moves that could be Vine Tentacles that have more force behind them and range, but give less mobility. Octopus Form gets replaced with sort of Earth Armor that also has Vine Tentacles bearing. Water Streams that grow plant where it lands. And Vine Wheel that can shoot out vines at people that slow them down or pull them towards you. Oh, I like the Vine Wheel. That's fun.
Vine Wheel, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't know what the controls for it would be, but the concept's interesting.
I do like growing a plant where an ability lands.
Yeah. Maybe something like how plant magic is in the Owl House. I'm not sure what that is, Rory.
Never heard of it.
You'd have to elaborate more. It should be kind of like Earth's playstyle with more limited movement. It fit the theme and balance of the game. It could stand out from other water styles. Flytrap plant that acts like a... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Flytrap plant that acts like a close-range turret, where if you get too close, it could grab you a little bit and spit them out.
Yeah, I think we've got a great list of suggestions here, and yeah, I think this is enough. I'm noticing there's a lot of patterns about people wanting defensive plants and area control, and especially summoning plants. And I feel like that could be a pretty unique element. So, yeah, appreciate the feedback. I think this gives me a pretty solid direction.
All right. What's next on your agenda? Question mark?
So yeah, might as well mention while I'm here and talking about plants for future sub-elements, the plants as metal is like the fast version of Earth, explosion as a close-range wild version of fire, and storm as an aggressive version of air. If people have ideas or things to add on to there, now's the time. And I'm going to quickly scroll through this planned list of moves for anyone who's curious and or wants to take screenshots. Again, these aren't final plans, but these are possibilities.
I see a couple questions on how do you unlock sub-elements and their levels and such. We answered those earlier in the event, so you'll have to go back and check the recording. But the TLDR, they're not going to be any different than what your regular elements are. Like, they're not going to have their own paths. If you want more specifics, then you'll have to wait and go back. Maybe a storm cloud that would be thrown and fly over enemies and strike them with lightning.
Yep. It's a move that I want, for sure.
Will metal bending be like Earth, where you can pull it out of the ground, or something else?
So I'm thinking probably keep the basic earth moves where you pull something out of the ground that's still going to be earth. It's not like there's metal hidden in the ground or something that you're pulling out. The metal moves might be instead replacing like the earth armor, the ground slam, the earth hammer, and the earth hands, and so on. Oh yeah.
Metal
So
should
don't
replace
really want to
hammer.
cut the earth wall or boulder.
And there's a comment of metal should replace hammer.
Yeah, not entirely sure what with. I was kind of thinking a metal pole, but maybe also like a metal shield would make more sense. Yeah, we'll see.
Can metal bending have a mining mini game where earth walls and boulders are okay? So it's just Minecraft or Terraria. No.
Yes, but you have to implement it.
Yeah, yeah. Give us the code. We'll look at it. Metal axe. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Replace the earth hammer with a metal axe.
Ooh, I like the Metal Gear move. We should do that.
Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah. I mean, that would just be a great name for a move, Metal Gear.
Yeah. As a heads up, there's a little less than 15 minutes left before we're gonna close out the event. So if you have questions about sub-elements or anything else, get them in.
Yes.
We'll try to answer them.
While people are putting in questions, I do have one more poll for the group. This is about an idea that is probably not ever going to happen, but maybe it would. And if there is a lot of interest in it, then maybe it would be more likely to happen. A non-VR version of Elements. Specifically, Elements as like a side or companion game alongside the main one, where maybe if you have friends who don't have a VR headset and you want to play online multiplayer with them, they could join through that companion game, and maybe they have a more limited access to the moves or could only use some of them, but that'd be better than not playing with them at all. And yeah, curious what people think of that. If there was a non-VR companion version, would that be a very good thing, a bad thing? Yes or no?
What do you guys do the animations on? I'm thinking about learning Blender.
Well, we don't actually use many animations because, well, VR, it's kind of like your body has to move to match how you're moving in real life. And that's using a Unity Asset Store package called Final IK. The few animations we have on top of that, which can mostly just be walking animations, we found online. But Blender is a great tool for animating, if that's something that you want to do.
Will there ever be NPCs that can bend elements?
If that is a very popular request, then yes. But Elements is mostly a PvP game. That's where it's strongest. So I've been avoiding spending too much time working on a co-op mode that isn't really the main focus of the game.
There's a game called Davigo that does a PC plus VR option.
Yeah, but it kind of has the PC and VR players as very, very different. I'm wondering if maybe we should kind of put them as similar as possible within the limitations of PC controls aren't going to be great.
It's a novel idea. I'm just not sure how much use it would get. All my friends use VR anyway, but that's just me.
All right, makes sense.
You could have something like Yeeps, where players could join on a non-VR device and have something that they can watch and fly around to spectate. I assume they can't do anything else. I don't know. I don't know about Yeeps.
Huh. I didn't know Yeeps had a spectator thing like that.
Maybe NPC element bending could be a variation to the co-op game mode.
Mm-hmm. Or like a big expansion of co-op, or maybe even a new mode.
Mm-hmm. Will there be an NPC that can buff your element? I'm not sure what that would mean.
Yeah, probably not, but we'd have to see the details.
can we get a game mode where there's one giant spirit person and all other players are regular, and the person that's the spirit has to protect their main body? That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, kind of interesting. It sounds like Ascended Master mode, except the Ascended Master has used spirit form.
Yeah, and you have to keep your body from dying. And yeah. Do y'all have plans to make more paid stuff? Please, no pay to win. Yep, we're not going to do pay to win. I think that's pretty clear.
Very against pay to win. This is meant to be a competitive fighting game, and if you can just pay to win the fights, that destroys the point of the game.
Yep.
We could maybe do more cosmetic packs. That's something that I'm undecided on and would want to hear people's feedback on. Do you think that those would sell, and like, would that be a good thing to do to fund the development of the game, or are you like against more cosmetic packs and we shouldn't do them more? We should just have the cosmetics for free.
Rory and Mac, when this game dies, which it never will, you should make a JJK game, and it would be awesome because S3 is coming out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because season 2 was great. The VFX artist on our team is a massive fan of JJK, and he has been pushing us to put more and more JJK moves into the game. So the Water Atom Bomb, the Lightning Orb, those are definitely inspired by Hollow Purple. And there's more beyond that. I think a JJK game would be fun, but I don't know how to do it justice. It feels like it'd be a pretty hard game to make. The fights are just too over the top.
I would personally support the game more if there was some more supporter packs, and I think the cosmetic packs are a good idea because they're totally optional and provide no tactical advantage, but give the players a way to support y'all.
All right.
Wait, Rory and Mac team up with Mappa, then you could cook.
Yeah, sure, if they'll talk to us. It would be a cool game to make eventually, if we could.
Or a PC versus VR game mode or something non-VR, players might be either melee fighting characters or control robots.
So you're not an elemental bender. It would be unique, but it could work.
Wonder how those cues would work. Do you guys think you'll ever do collabs? So I'm not necessarily like 100% against the concept of collaborating with, I assume you mean with other games in similar genres, but we don't really have connections to those people to even do a collab, and I'm not sure what would a collab even look like. Even if we did have connections, would it actually make any sense? Like, are we talking, oh yeah, the cosmetic item that's known for being an XYZ game and in their style to our game, or are we talking about like game modes or physical abilities? And so I'm not against it, but I don't know how it would work.
I think it'd be a lot of fun, though. I'd be on board with it.
Yeah. Could we have a community event where the other members of the team get to come and talk a bit about themselves and answer questions? Every single time I do one of these developer Q&As, I ask them if they want to join, and I am met with silence. So, yeah, I'd like to have more developers here. I think that'd be great, but a lot of them are, I guess, maybe a little bit more private, and they don't really interact with the community much, if at all, actually. In fact, probably if you searched from on any of the developers other than Rory, myself, and maybe Aaron, it would probably say 0 messages. Yeah.
But that's a totally fine thing. It's different people have different strengths. And the whole reason that Mac is here is because her strength is she's a great community manager. And that is not personally my strength. And that's why I'm not always in the community Discord and responding to everything. Because I do my best work when I'm holed up in a cave and just programming. So it's, if other developers want to join in the future, they're welcome to, but can't guarantee it.
Yeah. Can we do a collab with Burger King? I don't think they're going to respond to our emails. What are y'all's opinions on modding in private servers only? If you want to mod the
Great.
game, go for it. Go do it. We're not stopping you. You just have to figure out how to do it, and I can't tell you how to do it because I'm not a modder. So if you figure it out, yeah, go for it. If the way the game's set up, if you try to use mods and play with other people who don't have them, they're just not going to see them. It's not going to work for them. So yeah, go for it. If you and all your friends want to download some mod you make, you can do that. And I think in theory you might be able to play together. Not sure.
Yeah, it'll work. Yeah, and I should also note that if the mod is set up correctly, then it could even automatically only match you with other people with the same mods if the mod changes the right part of the code. So,
Yeah.
like a mod that's developed in the right way could be totally safe to play in any servers. And yeah, the game is set up in a way where if you ever do accidentally have a modded and unmodded player in the same lobby, it's not going to break the game. They'll just kind of each start hallucinating and seeing different things from each other, and it'll be weird, but it'll work.
Yeah, you might get weird desyncs and such. You could add an in-game currency you start unlocking after you unlock all the random cosmetics. I don't know what that gives you. Like you're just unlocking in-game currency just because you're leveling up or whatever. What are you spending it on? Is the goal that you can then spend on the supporter packs, and that sort of defeats the purpose of the supporter pack? But I don't know. Are you planning to add more PvP maps? Yes.
Yeah, we've got 4 in the pipeline right now. So one of them might be cut, so it might end up being 3. In particular, we've noticed that people really like the chessboard map. So a bunch of the new maps that we're working on are kind of inspired by the layout of chessboard, but modified and alternate to let people still play on the big flat maps, but with a bit more variety.
I really want to meet
some
the
images of that I could maybe show off if people are interested.
Yeah, why not?
Sure, I'll need a couple minutes to get the branch.
Yeah. I really want to meet the artist behind this game. Please, I want to learn more about game artists. It's what I want to do in the future. Kind of like I said, I can't promise anyone's going to come onto any big public event or whatever and talk about themselves or their life or who they are at all. I can ask the artists we do have if they're willing to either answer some questions that I give them or talk to you, but I can't promise that they'll want to do that at all. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll answer whatever, and then sometimes it's like, I have work, I have other things to do, and yeah. We ever get an in-game currency? Yeah, my guess is I don't think that we would do an in-game currency thing. I'm not sure it helps very much. If you play the game enough, you're gonna unlock everything pretty quickly anyway. So I would say just keep playing the game. Can you make so Air Blast does no damage but can still be used for movement and knockback? I feel like you make airbenders a lot more tolerable and keep air healthier and less quote-unquote scummy. It already does very little damage. I don't know. Rory, do you ever want to make Air Blast do no damage at all?
I could see that happening if it was. I don't know that it is necessary for balance. I feel like it's not that strong, but you know, if yeah, I do see a lot of people in comments saying that they want no air blast damage at all. Yeah, if that is an opinion that a lot of players share, then I can do that. I don't want to promise it right now because I want to make sure that that is like an everyone opinion, and including get people who main air and their feedback on it. So it's a possibility, but maybe a bigger question than right now. But Mac, maybe that's something that we could have a thread for.
Yeah,
if it's worth a full thread.
Yeah, we could have threads on that, and also if that's something you really want, to put it in suggestions and get a bunch of people into that thread too, and that also helps. I'm sure there's probably one somewhere about removing air blast damage, so you could also just bump that one back up if it does exist. We probably should do another balance thread at some point soonish too. Do y'all play the game? And if so, what element do y'all main? Yes, we play the game because we make the game. It's a funny question. It's like, yeah, do you ever play the game that you develop?
Well, some games.
Some games. We've heard some horror stories from one of our artists or whatever. Like, he didn't even get a copy of the game when he left the project. I was just like, they can't even spare a free copy to you. Anyway, I guess main water. I like water the most. Rory, I think you do what, fire?
Yeah, I think fire's cool, but I play them all.
Are you planning to add more power-ups? If you have ideas for power-ups, put them in suggestions and we can consider it. A fight a dev event would be fun. Response from one of the other people, not for them. I would agree with that sentiment. I think we'd all die pretty quickly. Rory might
just
be able
need
to hold that one.
Yeah, I would do fine. Sure. Yeah, fight a dev event, but then we put in cheats beforehand.
Rory, Matt, can you add a thing in settings so you can turn off or turn down like a bar from 0 to 100 damage tint? It can be really annoying sometimes. Isn't there already a setting to turn off vignettes?
Is there? If there isn't, we can add one.
I would look for a setting that says turn off vignettes or something like that, because I think that might already be in the game.
We'll double check. I have the code open.
And if you really want to fight a dev event, again, put in suggestions and I'll consider it.
Yeah, we do have a vignette strength setting, so I think that's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah. So we are after the 2-hour mark at this point. So I think after Rory shows off the maps in progress, then we'll probably call it there.
Yeah, because it sounds like the questions are slowing down a bit. We can answer a few more, but, this is going to be your last chance.
I don't know if this has been mentioned, but I think an in-game ranked mode would be cool. Players start a certain amount of elo, etc. Surprisingly, I think we went 2 hours without a mention of a ranked mode, which I'm actually kind of shocked by. But no, because there's not the player count to support a rank mode properly. It would split the queue a lot. That doesn't mean it's a never, but it's definitely a no for now. That might be something we revisit post full release when maybe there's more people. The actual implementation of ranked mode isn't necessarily technically difficult. It's just that if there's ranked mode and then half the people are going there and half the people are going in the regular queue, then suddenly it's really hard to find a full server of 8 if you don't care about ranked. Or you're sitting in, there's not even half of people that go to ranked mode. So then you're sitting in the ranked mode, and there's no one there, and there's no one there, and you're just waiting for half an hour and no one joins. Will the avatar mode get any updates? And if so, then can there be one where you can enable and disable certain elements at a time? That would be an interesting way to go about it. What's the point of sending master if you don't have all 4 elements? I don't know, but make suggestion. And yeah, that looks like the stream is live, so switch that.
Yeah. So I again want to emphasize to everyone, this is a work in progress. These are a lot less done than the sub-elements. These are at a first draft stage where there may be 30% there. But yeah, wanted to get people's initial thoughts. This map, tentatively called Pharaoh's Fortress, has a big open space in the center with some power-ups, and then a little bit of a lower spot here in the middle. There's also an upper ring that you can stand on as a wall that encircles the whole area. So mostly it's a big flat open space similar to chessboard. And the map is a little bit bigger than it looks. It doesn't look huge right now, but once you're in game, you realize, wait, these things are actually kind of giant. So yeah, mostly flat, a little bit of interesting stuff around the outside. A few props to take cover behind if you're in the very center. Another possibility. So I'm going to show this one as an example of our process. This one is probably not ever going to actually make the game. It's something that we tried, but is probably going to be cut. That's a normal part of game development. Just like with the lightning bow that I was talking about earlier, we try a lot of things, but a lot of them don't work out. And the ones that don't work, we'll just probably not put in the game. This map is okay, and it's kind of an interesting layout. But actually fighting on these slopes and these stairs just doesn't feel very good. The colliders don't line up naturally with the stairs, and it just didn't quite work out as nicely as it should have. So, yeah. Looks cool, though. Next up, we've got... this is my favorite looking map of them all. But it's a whole, like, Japanese shrine. Tentative map named Tori Shrine. There's like waterfalls and stuff. There's a whole lake and paths across the lake. There's these beautiful cherry trees everywhere. Lots of details. Yeah, a path that you can go up here to get to the top and then kind of explore around. I just think this map looks really nice. This isn't a chessboard style map though. So I'm expecting maybe it's not going to be the most popular one because it does feel a little bit cramped once you have a lot of players. It's not nearly as much open space as chessboard. But yeah, I think the graphics of this map are maybe the best yet. Oh, and this is on Quest settings. It looks even better on PC. Last map, tentatively called Portal Mayhem. A really big flat open space. But the gimmick is that there's portals. Go through this portal, you teleport to the opposite side of the field. And yeah, big flat space with portals. Chessboard with one extra thing. I think it looks pretty cool, but yeah, it's kind of simple and straightforward in terms of layout. Yeah, those are the new maps, and probably the three of them that would make it are going to be this Pharaoh's Fortress, Tori Shrine, and Portal Mayhem, but no promises. They need a lot more development and testing. Yeah, I want to hear people's thoughts on the layouts, because it's kind of always a bit surprising to me that people like the chessboard map so much. What do you like about chessboard specifically? Is it like just the flat layout?
While people are typing that, I saw a couple questions come up of what is your favorite sub-element that you've designed / also playing?
Okay, I like Spirit just because it's crazy. I haven't had a chance to play it in a lot of serious PvP matches yet, so I don't know how the balance is going to turn out. But I have a feeling like the balance is going to turn out to be wild. And I like Lightning just because the Lightning Blast move feels like it's supposed to feel. You know, you just punch and then boom, Lightning Punch. Oh, and I think Fire Explosion will also probably be fun because I like explosions.
Comments on flat maps. I like it looks so nice. I like it because you can't get sneaked up on so much. It's the flat layout. I dislike chessboard's design, but I love its layout and size. It's simple with no structures to block your movement / attacks. Stuff isn't in the way. they like not having an unfair advantage, or that no one has an unfair advantage. It's flat, but there's still cover with the slope. Open space for moving around, dodging attacks, fully unrestricted movement. Hot take, Space Rings is goated. I love Space Rings, but no one ever wants to play it.
That does cause nausea for some people.
Yeah. I personally think chessboard is a boring map. It's the best map to fight on. It's most fair for all elements. Doesn't limit us. We focus on fighting rather than movement. People like it because there isn't anything in the way, and it's easy to see everything.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully maybe the Pharaoh's Fortress and Portal Mayhem maps would be others that would meet all the requirements that people were noting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean we're past 2 hours, but 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I'm gonna give y'all like let's say 30 seconds to write out your last burning question, and then I'm gonna pick one and answer, and I think we can call it there. So yeah, 30 seconds starting now. I know you hate slow mo. That's why I gave you 30 seconds. It's only set to 30 right now, so you have time. We got like 15 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna look through them. I think this, I'm gonna pick this one. Any dream collabs that you guys want to do? Rory, why don't you go first?
So is this for elements or for future games? Because that changes my answer.
I assume for elements.
Well, there's a certain TV show out there that's like a little bit related to this game. And if anyone at that TV show wanted to do a collaboration with elements, then I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of, I guess I'll answer for the within the VR market ? I personally, I don't play Rumble, but I know a lot of people do, and they quite like it. I don't know what a Rumble X Element collab would look like,
we could
but I feel wow, I never thought of that. But I feel like it would be beneficial for both parties involved. Yeah, it's just not literally any One Piece game in VR. Is there not a One Piece VR game already? Not even a fan
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
Really cool though.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. Appreciate your time. I know most of you, the ones that are left now, a lot of you have stuck around since the beginning, and that's a very long time to stare at two people talking. So, thanks for that. This will get posted on our YouTube probably either later today or tomorrow. And then you can go back and watch then in case you missed anything or you came in halfway through or whatever. Yeah. I guess it. Any last words, Rory?
Yeah, just wanted to thank everyone for sticking around so long and for asking a lot of great questions. And yeah, I hope you have fun playing our game.
And as do I. And as I end this event, it will physically kick everyone out of this channel. So if you're in the middle of typing a message, you maybe go to general or something, because it's going to stop you. Yeah. Bye, everyone.